All right, leaders. So in this station, we are going to take a look at metaphors. So remember that a metaphor is when we are comparing two different items or things to one another, and we are not using those words like or as. So throughout the poem, She Had Some Horses, there are lots of metaphors used. We're going to open up to page 86 and 87, where we are going to do some work analyzing metaphors. So on page 86, it shows us, we can read together. It says, in She Had Some Horses, Joy Harjo uses horses to represent different parts of the woman's personality or identity. Horses occupy a special space in many Native American tribes. The horses are a metaphor for the women in this poem, but it is not directly stated. The poem also has metaphors that are stated directly. These metaphors compare the horses to other things. I'm going to stop there because the rest of those directions are actually going to change a little bit for us in this station. If you're looking at page 87, you're going to see that there are examples of metaphors A, B, C, D, and E. We're going to come back to them shortly, but we're going to first take a look at page 88 and 89 with the example in the book, and we're going to review the example and thinking about how we analyze a metaphor so that you can do it independently next with your partner. So our example is going to be, she had horses who were bodies of sand. So I would first think about sand. I know I'm comparing the horse to sand, the body of a sand. How's sand composed? What is it like? Is it strong? Is it does it sink? Is it thick? Is it thin? Is it easy to move? Okay, so those are all things that I could be questioning. So in the first column, you'll see that we wrote bodies of sand. In the second column, we're writing what sand is like. Sand is little. It's hard to separate. It's always moving or shifting around. It's very, very hard to separate. I should focus on that. It has little tiny grains, and it's kind of like salt that if I shake it, I'm going to have multiple little grains of sand. Many of us might be thinking about the sand that gets attached to us at a beach. A lot of times we think we have it, and all of a sudden there's little grains of sand that keep appearing when we have a day trip to the beach. Okay, so sand is always, it clings to things. It's always moving. What does it feel like, smell like, taste like, or look like? So using our senses here. Lots of tiny pieces, but together they look like something. So like you can use sand to create sculptures. You can use sand to make the ocean. If you wanted to replicate in a bucket, you could replicate that. How does it feel? It's grainy. It's rough. It can have a soft texture to it, but deep down, the grains of it are going to be more rough. So those would take care of the first three columns. Then we're going to kind of relate that to the poem. How might this relate to horses? Sometimes horses travel in herds or packs, and they can be rough too. We have wild horses that just roam. Assanteague Island is known for that. Lots of roaming wild horses. People go and see those horses all the time, but they're not necessarily horses you're going to go up and pet. And we also have domesticated horses, so horses that people use for riding, for therapies, just as on their farm for farming. So a lot of times horses are not found one at a time; they're found in a pack or a herd, especially in the wild. And then the last column is, what do you think this metaphor means in your own words? So we've talked a lot about sand, and we've talked about horses. And so we have to keep in mind that we're also deep down talking about women. So in this example, she's talking about horses are always moving. There's one in a group with a lot of individuals within it. So we can think about that honestly in a human population. A lot of times humans in nature are together with people. We're together here in the classroom. The teachers, while we have our individual classrooms, we're teaching and we're working together on the curriculum and the activities. So While we may identify as individuals, we also are a part of something. Can be the same thing as a team or a sport that you're with. You are one individual on that team, but you're working together in that group. All right. So what you're going to do with your partner is you're going to work on a couple of metaphors. You're going to have three options here: letter A, letter C, or letter D. Letter A says she had horses who were skins of ocean water. Letter C says she has horses who were fur and teeth. And D is she had horses who were clay and would break. So you're really identifying, you're comparing ocean water, fur and teeth, or clay. So you're going to pick one that you and your partner would like to do first, and you're going to work across just like we did with the example. And then if you have time left in the rotation, we'd like you to continue working through. And then in the next station with metaphors, or in a later station, you'll work with a teacher to review these three and analyze these three stations. So just work at your best, at least get one of them done. But if you have time, you can continue on.